From doorbells that think to thermostats that learn, the home is no longer just where we live. It's an intelligent ecosystem. In this episode, our 50th episode, we explore how IoT and AI are reshaping comfort, energy security, and care at home, and the trade-offs that come with inviting connected tech into our most personal spaces. It's good to have
Those are good.
Well, looky here. Well, hello, everyone. Welcome back. We were off for a week because of Yom Kippur, but I'm back. I have atoned for all of my sins. I'm clean and ready to screw up again. Let's get at it. Hey, I have some good friends here. Check out all these people. Why is my scene not changing? Now it changed. There we go. Look at all these people. Let's say hello. Hey, Tamara, how are you?
I am good. How are you?
Oh, why aren't you in my thingy dingy?
I'm a blank spot.
Did I not assign you? I didn't assign Tamara.
What?
Oh my goodness, Tamara, what is going on? This is falling apart.
Making a good start.
1 week off, and this is what happened.
I'm so sorry. I've completely forgotten how to do this.
We're starting fresh.
Yes, we're starting fresh. How are you, Tamara?
I am good. I missed us.
Good. I missed us too. I'm gonna guess that this next scene is messed up also. Oh, it's not, because Sky must be there.
Where?
Right
Hi.
there.
Right there.
You know what season it is? Do you know?
Is it winter
It's red
season?
scarf season.
It's cold in Seattle, scarf season.
It's cold. Vic,
And I'm back down in my basement where it's a constant 68 degrees down here.
You're not outside anymore.
I can see it through the windows.
Well, that's nice.
It's right out. It is. And
Vic
we had
is saying
such a
happy
full moon this week.
50th. Well, that'll
Yeah.
be beautiful. That'll
The
be nice.
howling. Oh, did you guys have one too?
Supermoon.
No.
Supermoon.
Brett is saying hello to Tony. Let's say hello to Tony. Hey, Tony.
Hello and happy 50th show. Congratulations,
Happy
Rabbi David Paskin.
50th show. We are now 1/6 of the way along this journey that you are on your show or something like that, right? You have so many more episodes.
Yeah, I think we're close to 200 episodes.
There
right
you
now.
go. There you go.
Cool.
I love it. I love it. And let's see. Oh, my friend Lois is here. Hi, Lois.
Hello. So if we've had 50 shows, but we weren't there every single week, does that mean we're a year old now?
Almost. I think our 1 year episode is actually number 52.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Or
Well, but we
51
skipped a
or
week.
50. Yeah, because we
skipped a
skipped a week. It might be 51. I'm not exactly sure. Yeah.
Here, it might be tonight.
I don't think it's tonight. Pretty sure it's tonight. You want to say, let's pretend it's tonight. We'll pretend it's
Happy
tonight.
birthday.
Happy birthday, Lois. Good to see you here. And happy birthday, Dave. How are you, sir?
I'm pretty good. I didn't bring a party hat. You didn't send any party hats for this thing, and I was going to put in the sparkles that come down my screen, but I didn't have time for that. So there we go. That's
Well, there you
what's
I
happening.
have a little something for you. There you go.
Yeah, there we go. Now you've made me happy.
All right. Let's not waste any time, my friends. Let's get into the news. So this, I think, is an interesting and concerning and story worth talking about. Again, not the politics side of it, the tech side of it. Although the politics side of it is interesting also. And that is that Apple took down an app that had been put up called, what is it? What do they call it?
Ice
Block.
block.
Ice block. And the idea was to allow people to mark where they saw ICE agents. For those of you who are not in the United States, in recent weeks, ICE, the immigration and what is the C?
Oh, gosh.
Enforcement. I don't know what the C stands for. In any case, immigration enforcement police have been rounding up people that they believe to be illegal aliens. And as a part of that, the way that they're doing it, which makes many people very uncomfortable, is they are in unmarked vans. They are wearing masks. They're not necessarily identifying themselves as ICE agents. I'm not sure that identifying themselves would make it any better, but nonetheless, that adds to the trauma of this for many, many people. And so ICE Block was an app so that we could say, hey, I see something, see something, say something. A little bit like Waze is, right? Where you can mark an accident or you can say where a police officer is. Well, Apple pulled it down after the safety risks of the app were made known to the company. So, right, they actually talked about it, how they described themselves as Waze, but for ICE sightings. The safety concerns that they talked about were concerns that came from the government, that this could cause harm to ICE agents by revealing their location. It could cause people to go and cause harm. So my question for us is, here we are with tech companies being lobbied by the government rather than tech companies lobbying the government, being lobbied by the government to make technical decisions about applications and tools that they have for non-technical reasons.
I think the term lobby is a bit weak.
Okay.
Yeah. How is this different than the recording of where you see a police officer, and that exists? They haven't taken that down.
Are there apps? You mean like
Waze.
Waze, right?
Yeah.
Well,
Oh, for traffic.
right,
Say when you're on traffic, there's an accident.
right.
You can.
Or you see a police car and you let people know, and they go, "Oh, well, I guess I better follow the
Right.
rules."
I better
now."
slow down. Exactly. No, you're absolutely right.
Well,
I mean,
the Apple Maps has that. The Apple Maps will say speed check ahead.
right.
Mhm.
And when the fires in Southern California came out, that was the fire department 5 years ago. That was the fire department's go-to because of the political. I mean, not the political, but the social network of that, because it was for the good of the society.
Right.
But
And
these unmarked cars, it does not say to protect and serve.
well, I think that if the situation were different, if the temperature around this particular issue were different, then perhaps Apple would not have pulled it so quickly. But I think that, and I'm not defending this by any stretch of the imagination, but I think the thought process was probably that the temperature is high, and this app in this
I'm not going to get you there. No,
No.
Twitter and Facebook were instrumental in the Egyptian protests that brought down the government. The Hong Kong people had its own app to tell you where not to go, where the riot police were. And now we have the ICE block, which tells ordinary citizens. It's not like they're, fomenting revolution here. They're just telling ordinary citizens, beware, ICE is in your area. Now, there are a segment of the population, a big minority of your population, who need to know where that is so they can protect their families and themselves. And if that's a personal choice, then they should have the freedom to be able to access that information. And I think it's an interesting takedown because Apple has taken lots of apps off to please the Chinese government and the Hong Kong government. And this is no different. The government pressures them and they say, but in the cases of China and the others, there's laws already passed that you can't do this. In America, you're supposed to be protected by your Constitution, and the right of assembly should not be interfered with by the government, no matter what the assembly's purpose is, to protect a
Right.
church from being bombed or from people being shot at by a sniper. So gathering together to object to what the government does is a civil right that Americans have that most countries don't. And here is your government saying you don't have that anymore.
But we're talking about Apple and what they did.
Yeah,
And I
but
think
if it were
they
a
are
law,
simply
they should be defending your
afraid of.
Constitution.
No, I think Apple is afraid of what the government or what
And why should they
would
be?
do for them.
Well,
Why
that's
should they
okay.
be?
Because they can,
Right.
because the government can do stuff to
But
them.
They can do stuff to them. Sure.
that's where
yeah,
this story
but why
is,
shouldn't they
right?
take the hit and
This-
say the government isn't allowed to do that?
right. This
They've-
story is really
corporations are
about.
people.
This story is really about this new relationship between government and corporations. We've always had government and we've always had lobbying, we've always had relationships, but we saw not a month or two ago, all the tech CEOs fawning all over the president.
Exactly. So that's a political problem.
In the cabinet room or in the Oval Office, wherever the heck they were. And now they are doing the government's bidding. And so again, this is what's the angle about this that I really want to think about is how does this play out for the technology, right? How does this play out for Apple and for us as the users of these technologies? What does it mean for us?
Now I know it's a corporation. Apple's a corporation, so they can do what they want, and they're not governed by the rights of people. And the people who made the app and wanted to, help people, can't really sue them for taking it off the site. But I think it's an abrogation of the idea that people are free to speak and use apps to speak, and Apple has forgotten that that's a personal right.
So this is a free speech issue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do think it's a
Or
free
it's a
speech
government issue.
And I thought immediately of the fact that a lot of Nextdoor these days is ICE posts. ICE is in this place, ICE is here. And so when I saw this come down, I was like, well, then where does that go next? Does that mean Facebook posts will be edited out to say that have that? We'll be putting little macros to check to make sure that anyone who posts something that post gets flagged. So then that becomes a much more personal issue to people if they're posting something in one of these sites that they consider a place for them to to use, and then they can't have them. So this is like a big version of something that is, I think, a little bit scary. Now, if there is a lot of significant evidence that this particular app is causing problems with ICE, then I think that there would be a conversation. But in fact, this is only one of many, many, many places where people are getting information about where ICE is at any given time. So you can't point to that app and say, unless they have very significant evidence, which, to be honest, if they had it, they would say it. They would be like, hey, these people were attacked. We've trolled it back to this app. This app is not safe. But that didn't happen. So saying we've recognized that something could be a threat, which you're recognizing that could be a threat, is American voices who are exercising their right to
Let's not
say what they
forget that
think.
Microsoft and Google also took the app off theirs. So not just
Say that one more time.
They
those
took
apps were
similar
taken
ones
off
off.
the
I don't
other
think it
stores.
was. I don't think it was Android based. I don't think it was in Google, but they took similar apps off of their site, I think.
Yeah. Lois, go ahead. I'm sorry.
So, so we know this happened, and obviously people have strong feelings about whether it should or shouldn't have happened. My question is, technologically, what can a person do to get this if Apple has blocked them from getting it? In other words, I get all my apps by going to the Apple store and just buying them, and now I'm forbidden to have this opinion and use this tool.
Right. So
Where are we going to go now? If Apple isn't trustworthy anymore,
well, it's
where
not,
am I going to go?
I'm not sure that I would say Apple isn't trustworthy, but I think you're asking a very good question, which is a much broader question also, which is that Apple is a walled garden. There is one place where you can get apps for your iPhone. Now there's a workaround, and ironically, we were talking before the show about the apps that I'm building in Lovable. I'm not putting them in the App Store. I'm not even dealing with the App Store. I'm building them as web apps, and you can very easily from any website on iOS or Android, you click the share button and you say add to home screen, and then it lives on your home screen with the icon, and it works just like an app, and it's beautiful. So that's how I do all of my stuff. But to your question, Lois, there is no other place to get apps on iPhone. You can't sideload, you can't, and there are lawsuits going on constantly about this in the EU and other places who are trying to allow us to sideload or have different app stores, as it were.
Well,
According,
we can get apps that aren't from the App Store,
no, you can't.
can't we?
No.
I've done it a zillion times on my Mac.
Well, that's
Is that
a Mac.
iOS? Is that
No,
an,
that's
is that a phone thing?
that's a Mac. That's different. iOS is different.
Oh,
Yeah.
Right.
As on the IceBlock website, it says if you currently have IceBlock installed, it still works. Do not delete the app or reset your device as you lose access. So Apple doesn't pull apps away if you already have it. It just restricts you from getting it anymore or from updating it. It is, and they say it is not currently available for download. So it's a good question. There is no way to get it unless they were to release it as a web app. Go ahead, Tony.
That's what I was about to say. And we've had this conversation, I think, last week. I just want to share this again from, I guess it's been 2 weeks ago that we were sharing or talking about this app, BitRig. And I would encourage those people who are finding themselves in situations where a web app might be the way to go. This can be used as a way in which, even though it's from the App Store, Apple App Store, it is also a way in which you could possibly create a web app using your phone that would serve the purpose.
I don't
And
remember you
as
talking
far-
about this. Hold on a second. What is this? It's a new toy.
we
I
didn't
have
talk
to play
about
with now?
BitRig.
What are you doing to me, Tony? Come on
I-
now.
I thought we talked about.
I don't have
BitRig
time for
last
yet
week.
another thing to play with.
Well, it is an amazing. Maybe it was part of the conversation office hours, but it's an amazing app that you can create. It uses Swift primarily,
Whoa.
and you can take your phone, make an app on your phone for your phone. Absolutely, I've been playing with it. Absolutely amazing, the things that you can do on your phone. And again, that goes back to my conversation about the pocket computer that we all carry around. This might be a way in which people who are trying to find a solution may be able to deal with their current situation. I do want to mention that as a result of the app being pulled from the store, some of the result is that there are social services agencies that have private nonprofit agencies that are now seeking out people who are afraid to even go to the grocery store. And so what they're doing is, because children are afraid that if they go to school, come back, their parents may not be there. So there's a lot of that kind of thing that's going on. And I would just say that it's important for us to be mindful that there are people who are extremely afraid to venture out, and so what they're doing is they're just staying inside. And even if it means not being able to go out and get food, that is a reality, that there are some people that are dealing with that kind of thing.
Yeah. Vic is pointing out, and thank you, Vic, that they can pull apps off your phone, but for whatever reason, they didn't pull this one. Apps like spyware.
So maybe that's their stand in,
Yeah, maybe how they're
you know.
right.
Well,
And
if
let me just point out, I'm sorry, I
Yeah.
just want to share this one. So Brody says, seems inherently coercive and contrary to constitutional rights of free speech and assembly for government to make this self-serving request / demand. Yeah. Go ahead, Lois.
So if Tony has that program or that website, whatever the thing he has is, and you can make your own app, I'm wondering if it won't very quickly have somebody putting out the code for the app so that each person who wants it can create their own private version of the same thing. I don't know if that's possible, but it seems like
It's
the
crowdsourced.
next
So
probable
Yeah.
activity.
They'd have to be connected to a cloud somehow because it's all
Yeah.
crowdsourced. But I just want to point out, by the way, that this BitRig, this you mentioned this on your show, Tony, so that's why I hadn't seen it. The three guys, co-founders, they wrote Swift UI. I mean, the guys who are doing this app wrote the language that all apps are written in. That this is kind of amazing. I think I'm not going to download it because the idea of vibe coding on my phone, like I'm going to have such thumb disease. It just, I need a keyboard and a mouse, but it's a fascinating, and the plus is that with web apps, unless you use external services, you can't have notifications and you can't have all that stuff, but that's all built into this. That's fascinating. All right, we're moving on. We are moving on. Tony, did you play around with it?
Have played with it, and I'm
We're
going to be transparent and say that I am overwhelmed because I'm playing with BitRig, I'm playing with Sora 2. I'm not a master. I'm not a master of all of these different applications and software that I'm actually doing, and so it's really.
Yeah. So
But I have a license to share. If anybody needs one, you can reach out, contact
you mean an
me,
access code?
and
Yeah. So we're talking about Sora, which was Sora 2, actually, which was released by OpenAI last week to huge fanfare. It is a standalone app. And this video this is their demo video. None of this is real. This is all created in AI. The people who are the actual developers of Sora 2, this is not him. This is his, oh goodness, what do they call it? His, not avatar. What was it called?
Avatar?
No, it's
Cameo.
Cameo, thank you.
Cameo?
Yeah, it's his Cameo. So I have it, and I have, and I set up my Cameo. It didn't do a good job with me. I'm just being honest. And I did it a couple times. I set up my Cameo a couple times. I was not impressed with how I looked. Maybe that's just because I'm ugly. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't blame the AI for that. I don't know.
Well, mine didn't work either. Mine didn't work either.
Yeah,
So.
and look, it may also very well be user error. But I mean, it's I was sitting. I mean, I don't have this to show, but here, this is. So. This is. Let me hide my eyes.
You eating ham?
No, so I put in, I said, I was with a kid and she was making jokes about pink food. So I said, me eating pink cheese, a pile of pink cheese. So that's what that was. One of the interesting pieces of this is that when they announced it, they made a big deal about the fact that this is a standalone app. This is not built into OpenAI, in part so that the AI stuff that you create will stay within the Sora app, right? There's no share to Facebook or share to Twitter or share to YouTube. I have already seen a lot of this stuff on YouTube and not Instagram, on
TikTok.
TikTok, yeah. So it's already finding its way out. Sam, the CEO, You can make your Cameo private or public or just to your friend. He made his public for everyone, and everyone has been using him and remixing him. It's a really strange. I don't know. It's a very strange experience. I thought I was going to love it, sort of scrolling the feed. It hasn't captured my fancy.
Do you know who Casey Neistat is?
Yes, I do. Go ahead. Tell us about this.
Well, he is a YouTuber that made money when the early days of YouTube came out 25 years ago. Yeah, go ahead and punch his link up.
We have got to the point.
Oh, sorry.
And he's going, but wait a minute, they're taking all of my work. And now the AI is even replacing me. And so he's doing a thing with his wife. For 20 years, he's been making short films. He started as a teenage, person in New York. And now look at him. He's actually going, what's going on? Yeah. And so I thought it was just ironic that somebody that bucked the Hollywood system found his way to making millions of dollars is now going, you mean I'm being replaced? I'm so young.
It's funny because I don't see this as a replacement at all.
He does.
I know. And look, he's
because that's where he makes his living.
He is so wait, hold on. Okay, good. He stopped it himself. He was writing something that wasn't safe.
No, he didn't. He paused it just in time. It's cable. There ain't no MP rating here.
Yeah. Listen, that Richie is watching. This is fascinating, Richie. Thank you for sharing this. He says, Cameo is a strategic rebrand of the concept of deep fakes, face sets, creative Wild West, not a curated viewer algorithm yet. It is.
What does that mean?
It's slop. It's slop right
it's
now.
AI slop, which we've talked about before.
That's what it is
right
now.
But they are rebranding the deep fakes, which we've all been worried about. Right? This how terrible this could be. Sora 2 has rebranded that into, isn't this fun? Let's do it as a social app.
Well, and they're trying to contain it inside their own universe. So yes, you can rip it and strip it out to, one of your other platforms. But again, what do they want? They want your loyalty so they can sell brand advertising.
I really think that to a certain extent, as already been stated, that this is the Wild Wild West as far as I think it's amazing that what it can do, but as with David, what you have shared in terms of your previous conversations about coding and that kind of thing, and the experience that you have used with AI and the bumps that you've run into, we're going to run into some bumps with this as well. And I see it as potentially a tool in order to really create really good content down the line, but we're not there yet. So right now what we're getting is we're being bombarded by the slop. And that's just kind of where we are right now.
Define really good content, because you're
well,
that's an interesting qualifier.
In my opinion, really good quality would be when it really makes you scratch your head in terms of, like, for example, there are these sort of examples of Martin Luther King giving speeches that are things that he would not say or has not said. So you know that's slop. And you also know that there is something that is there that lets you know that it's AI generated, even if they didn't say that it was AI generated.
But they had pictures of Jesus. You're saying those aren't? Oh, sorry, being sarcastic.
By the way, I just went to share this. So I went to Apple AirPlay to my Apple TV. It won't let you do that. The Sora app. which isn't. That's just kind of interesting because I want to share it with you, but it won't actually let me do that. Yeah, Justine has been using this like crazy. There she cameoed Mark Cuban. She every video that Justine puts up has a little pig in it. Let's see what else we can get. Can we get anything else? Oh yeah, this. Oh, look at that. There's a rabbi. Okay, perfect. This is what you were talking about with the
Martin Luther King.
yeah, the Martin Luther King videos. The people have been remixing this and putting different words in his mouth. I don't know. I like I said, I'm maybe I'm an outlier. I have not found it compelling. I want to see real people.
Yeah, I don't feel like it's. I mean, I think that what you're saying, Tony, is yeah, right now it's kind of obvious that it's got AI in it. The problem is, as it gets better, then it becomes even more problematic because now we really can't look at any video and say this is real or this is not real, and it'll become more difficult to tell when it's not going to be an ice skater with a cat who does a perfect axle. Like it'll be something more that you're not going to be able to tell the difference, and there's going to be no marker of it. And I think that's really dangerous. But also, it's further kind of fragmenting us as an audience, right? So we saw this when when there were only 3 networks, and then a 4th network, at one point a 5th network. Everybody saw a lot of the same content. And then we had cable and we saw less content, and we saw streaming and we saw less of the same content. And so with this, it's a barrage of content that is, some of it's really entertaining. It's just super silly. There's no real value other than it being super silly. But once it gets to a point where you really can't tell the difference, then it becomes more problematic, I think. And we're losing our humanity in place of videos that people can create without thought. And I think that to me is a bigger kind of ethical question: is do we really want to be advocating who we are to a 10-second
Yeah.
toy?
Didn't we just go through this with things like Pinterest and Instagram, where you project a life that you didn't live?
Mm-hmm.
And people will continue to do that, but it'll look like they really are in Hawaii. So
Wow.
they can still do it, and that's what they want it to be, as a social thing, not a threat to Hollywood or entertainment.
We were living vicariously through other people through their Instagram accounts. Now we're living vicariously through our own Instagram account, which isn't real itself.
Right. And I think TikTok is a direct response to what you're talking about, Dave, right? Because we kind of didn't know we were curating who we were in Facebook. So how other people saw us was based on what we posted and the food that we ate and the people that we were doing. And like, I kept mine totally positive. And even when I was having like a really rock bottom time, someone came up to me like, "Oh my gosh, I saw your Facebook. Everything's going so well for you." And I realized, wow, this is completely a curated Tamara that doesn't exist. That isn't the Tamara right now. And I stopped posting.
Show the broken leg
updating.
unless it comes with a great story,
Right.
Yeah,
but TikTok is very different, because TikTok is people turn on the camera and they tell you exactly what's happening in their life in a very real, raw setting. And that has become what people have been attracted to. They're like, I just want to hear about this person's bad day at Target, because I too have had a bad day at Target.
And this is taking it back to that
LinkedIn. Fake curation of who we want to be. And that gets us a little bit further from who we are.
Yeah.
I think.
Vic is saying that he's pretty sure that soon we'll have tools that can identify if content is AI generated. There are some tools already that exist. I've been told by people that I trust that they're awful, that those tools are not very good.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. Sora
they went
does
through a whole
have,
phase with JPEG, where they wanted to embed the ownership or copyright of a photograph in the pixels.
in the metadata, right?
Yeah, well, no, in the pixels.
In the pixels.
So that no matter how you crop the picture, it's in the pixels.
Mm-hmm.
And the pixels with themselves had the information of who Dave Trotman was and why this is his photo. And that could probably be applied, that people who make stuff automatically are putting in an ownership of it that nobody else can use, and then it's your fault, not theirs.
Yeah.
Yes, but it will be a subscription, and you'd have to pay $9.95 a month to
Probably.
have that ability.
Yeah, Lois,
I'd
go
have
ahead.
to bequeath
So-
it to my children. Yes.
Tamara was talking about when we had 3 channels on the television and we saw the same things. And so the next day at school, you were all talking about what happened the night before. Well, now with so many choices, I think we also have so many people that we could connect to because we have all these opportunities to share ourselves with the world, that we're again in a situation where we are talking about the same things because we've limited our community to just those people who think like us. And so I'm thinking we went back quite a bit rather than be going forward.
It's still forward. It's just a flip. It's like when Oprah made the audience the content and the guests were the audience, because we're doing that with this now, where when everybody watched the networks, we had a common message, and then we had a collective feel about that. But today, I can still get the main stories that affect me, and I can still decide which source I want to follow, and I'm still getting my news. It's just not from a neutral source way out in the world. So I guess my feeling is that we, as with the fragmentation, we've made ourselves the news center, and now we're looking out at things and deciding and editorializing for ourselves what we think is relevant. David's doing this every week with us. He's picking a thing that's relevant, and then we're having commentary on it like some panel around Fox News. So it is similar, but it's more a direct, they used to call us target, help me out, Sky, target audiences. Narrowcasting, I guess, is what I'm thinking.
Narrowcasting,
When
yeah.
cable came along, they were narrowcasting. Each channel was picking apart the audience who were interested in woodworking versus fishing versus reality. So then network disappeared and we got reality.
So Alex is saying that things are going to be a disaster for future generations that won't be able to go back in time and verify if anything made today is real or not. Here's what I'm going to say. I'm just going to say this. I'm going to say that this video generation and these types of AI tools can be incredibly powerful, incredibly dangerous, and completely and utterly useless for social networking and in the way that Sora 2 has been presented to us in the form of this app. I think this app is a dud. I don't think it's going to go anywhere. I think the technology behind it is amazing, but I think this is a slop app for slop. And that's all I have to say about the subject. But I got myself a new toy to help in my home automation. And I thought I would just share it with you all. So this is my new friend. He does, let me take that off. Sorry. He does my laundry. He takes care of everything that I need, really. He's just, sorry. No, not that part. Don't look at them. That's nothing. They're not part of my new at-home service. Where is he? Wait, let me get him back. Here he is he's doing some dishes for me. I call him, what do I call him? I don't know what to call him. Bob. I call him Bob.
No. Bob's his uncle.
Yeah.
How?
So this just came out today. This dude is not available yet. But
Great.
But I mean, boy, it's kind of wild.
Well, when you had that link and I had a look at it, I got to thinking about the movie AI, which was started by Kubrick and finished by Spielberg. A little guy suddenly has feelings for the kid that he's living in a house with, and he goes to hug him and they fall in the pool. And the AI, of course, the kid doesn't have to worry about drowning, but the other kid he's hugging is drowning and nobody can do anything about it because the guy's heavy. And this became a sort of like, was he trying to murder him? And everybody freaked out. And then he was banished. In I, Robot, the movie, we have a murderous robot, one of these things, these service robots. Right now, we've got a TV series on Apple called Murderbot. And it's funny as heck because Murderbot is always checking the perimeter. And there's also a show from Britain called Humans. And if you haven't seen Humans, it's a three-year series that looks at a guy who successfully put lifelike human robots in the world, and they all shared with each other so that they could coordinate with humans. And then one day, one of them stopped sharing, and the world kind of started to fall apart. And he had his own ideas, and it was a good examination of all those moral layers that we always come across when we talk about the 3 rules of robots and the sort of things that Foundation is involved with and all the rest. And I still find it funny that we want a human, because I think we're going to find that we don't want a human. We want something with us that is something we do that's automatic. We just go to sleep and all this stuff happens because we're not aware that we got up at 3 a.m. and did the laundry, finished the folding, did all the, but while we were asleep, we didn't have to wake up to do all these things because we had all the facility for balance, perception, hearing, and not tripping over things and not tearing things apart because we can't put it in the dishwasher.
And you want a house elf.
A house self, yes. And it'll be implanted in me for my own health and protection. And it'll make me a more better citizen because when things are censored, I don't even know they existed. And this kind of insight is what I'm thinking is what's going to happen, not some army of robots that are going to put us all in my favorite cartoon, and it's Wall-E, where he gets on the ship and everybody's just sitting around being entertained because everything else is automated. And I really think that's like a frightening future.
Well, we're certainly not there yet. We don't have Jeeves according to Victor. We don't have Alfred according to Alex.
You keep trying to selling it to us, and
well, I mean that was the that was.
But
I
like the house
teaser.
as a robot. That's a great idea. Make it the house automated, not people.
All right, so let's talk about that. So
that feels like a Stephen King novel there.
What automations, what home automations do you all actually use? Lois, when you wrote earlier that you're late to the game, I was laughing because I'm later than you. I barely have a doorbell.
I have nothing. I don't even have a doorbell.
Yeah.
I mean, we're going to get one within the month, but and we got a watch, so that's 2 things. But no, all I have is because I have a Mac, I have Siri, and I can call on that assistant in my Mac or on my phone, or and ask questions and set alarms and do for fairly simple stuff. But that's it. It's not going to turn on my computer. I mean my kitchen.
So do any of you have that? Oh, Sky does.
Kind of.
Wait, Tamara, you do too?
No, I'll tell you the only thing, and actually I bought like one of those ball thingies. I don't know, what is it, Alexa or something?
The Google Home or the Alexa or the
I don't know. Yeah. It's blue. It's a ball.
Is it the
I
Apple
bought
one?
it because
Apple
someone on office
HomePod,
hours, I won't say who,
the Apple HomePod.
I turned it over and it says could be possible.
Could be possible. Exactly. No, because they were like, oh, it's so great because I can just say, do this and turn my whole studio on. And I was like, that sounds amazing. I'll get one. It is. I don't even know where it is. I even tried to find it to like use it as a prop because I know Dave brings props. I was going to bring a prop. I don't even know where it is. I don't even know where it is. If I found it, I wouldn't know where the cable is. I've never used it. What I have used is plugs and lights. So I can, from my phone, turn my lights off, which I think is fantastic because I often I leave this room and then I'm somewhere else. I'm like, I really don't want those studio lights on all night. And I can turn that off. That is as automated as I have become. And I love it. And I've thought about doing other things. I even bought a power strip that can also be controlled by my phone. I have some of the tools.
I have to tell you that so in my office at home, I did the same thing. I have the lights in there on my phone. And when I'm not in the office, it's really convenient to be able to turn them on and off.
Super
When
convenient.
I am in the office, it's such a pain because I
It's
just
so
want to go to the wall and press the button and have the lights turn on. But no, I have to take out my phone. I have to unlock my phone. I have to find the app. I have to press the button.
Now, so the reason that I was even intrigued to do that much is that I bought a car last year, which has way more fancy tech than anything else that we've ever owned. And my phone will literally, I'll get out of my car, I'll be bringing groceries in. It's like, your door is unlocked. Would you like me to lock it? And I was like, yes, lock it. Like, that's amazing. That is I never have to worry about if my car is locked. I'm in the store. I'm like, oh, did I lock my car? Let me just check. So that's super handy. I'm not going to lie. I love those features.
Yeah.
So maybe there's hope for me.
Maybe
But I've
hope for
always
you.
been
Yeah.
leery about those Alexa and things that can listen to you. I've always been like, this is my house. I really want it to be. But
Sky, what do you have?
I use so much technology that the world's listening anyway, so
Yeah.
it doesn't really matter.
What do you have,
Well,
Sky?
my wife says when we first married that I couldn't buy her anything for her birthday or Christmas that plugged in or took batteries. And so consequently, we needed a washer and dryer. And she says, I don't want anything with the new technology. I just want the basic because all that other stuff just breaks. So she got really insulted when I, came home with a bucket and a washboard. But that was not something she was interested in either. So you just know pleasing some people. No, actually, that was a joke. Love my wife, and we have a broken washing machine. But my son has the Ring app. I took him to a football game, the only one I could afford, which was preseason. Go Seahawks. And he was constantly twitching. I thought he had what's wrong? I thought he had, some kind of what he had was an Apple Watch connected to his Ring. And anytime the cat would walk by the thing at home, it would alarm him that something's going on. Well, his mother, my wife, was watching his children. You would think she might know how to do something with his children, but he had to completely be distracted, twitching throughout, a 3-hour experience at a football game.
Sky, this weekend, my wife was up in North Carolina. And
Yes.
when I took the dog out for a walk, she got alerted because I walked past the Ring doorbell. And not only that, she would then open the Ring app and start talking to me through the doorbell.
Now,
At which point
again,
I
the reverse.
I said, no. Like, I don't, because that also meant she was watching me. Now, I'm only with the dog, so there's nothing to see, but wow.
It's so creepy.
It really did feel a little bit like an invasion of my privacy.
And this is where the word social in media is actually not anything to do with being social. It's commercial. So, but you can't call it commercial media. So consequently, isn't this supposed to make our lives feel better and warm and fuzzier and secure? I see
Well,
The
Dave's nodding his
security
head.
comes if someone is coming to do something bad,
Right.
and you can know it. I mean, I can't know it because I don't have one of those yet.
I see. This is where I did put in. That's what I want to do, Lois. I need to come live in your backyard and just look
You're
at birds.
come on over.
I think that's
We'll put
peace-
up a little
peace and
tent out
happiness.
there, and it's not quite as cold as it is up where you are.
But
tent.
Maybe we're all just old. I'm not sure what the problem is with this panel, but 78% of people, when they're looking for a new home, are looking for a home with some sort of smart tech built in, a Nest thermostat, the Ring doorbell, smart speakers, all those different things. I use
Roomba, yes.
right,
All
the
that
smart
stuff, yeah.
vacuums. I use the smart outlets and for my lights, and those are great, but that's all I use. Tony, are you using anything over there?
I actually, my studio is kind of automated in terms of being able to turn my lights on and off. And there are a lot of different things in my setup that are automated. But what I wanted to say was when you made your last statement, David, and you were talking about maybe we're old, I look at it a little bit differently. I don't think that it's necessarily that we're old, but think about it from the standpoint of maybe somebody in the 50s or 60s, and they had to have a house that had to have a landline so that they could talk on the phone, right? And so I think it's the same thing, that as time goes by, there are things that we add to our housing that is contemporary with the science or the technology that is available at the time. And it's just that, maybe we are old from the standpoint of we are not ready to embrace these things, but the people who are younger, a lot younger than us, will embrace these things. And you know, who would have thought that, when the Dick Tracy commercial came out, that you would actually be able to take your phone and talk on it, and answer phone calls, and actually be able to. I'm laughing at Dave.
Yeah.
But those things, the communicator in Star Trek in 1960s, that's happening now. So who's to say that in another 30 years we're not actually doing transporters and not using airplanes anymore to go to different places in the world, instantaneously. But
Yeah.
that's kind of what I was thinking in terms of when you were saying that people will adapt, adapting from the horse and buggy to a car, and so I think that's the way in which the world works. The flip side of it is, as Tamara said earlier, how we are addressing the ethical issues when it comes to this technology. And one of the things that I think that is problematic for us in this technology, there seems to be no compassion or humanity that is a part of this technology. So that's where the rub for me seems to be, showing up.
Sky, go ahead.
Well, my wife and I did have this conversation this morning too. She talks about a small town in Arizona that's putting in a data center, and I'm all for tech. And then she talks about her perspective at the beginning of the conversation was that the people of this small little town did not ask for this. But I had just come from visiting Paul Valhus, of all people, in Austin, Texas. He took me to the mile-long building that is the Starlink factory. He told me the history that 10 years ago, that property was maybe $10,000 an acre. Now, because of all of the data tech, that's $100,000 an acre in the middle of Texas. So again, the conversation is, who's to benefit from these features? Can they be for humanity and against humanity at the same time? And this is the ethical challenge to Tony and Tamara's point. I'm an early adopter, but I'm looking at my daughter who's going, yeah, I'm in tech and I'll use tech, but I get my purpose in working with clay. I get my purpose in weaving. I get my purpose in being in community. So it's like, I love my daughter. My daughter's so hard. And my son who twitches at football games.
Richie is in the chat, said businesses are making IoT happen. Hardware stores are selling smart toilets, and no cars are not computerized anymore. That's true. You cannot buy a car that isn't built on a computer anymore. I'm not sure, Richie, that I agree that businesses are making IoT happen. I actually think that businesses are I don't think anyone's making it happen, to be perfectly honest with you. I think it is still a bit of a dead area. I mean, we have smart TVs, we have smart thermostats, we have smart plugs and outlets, but the real promise of a real smart home maybe I haven't invested enough in it. I don't see that coming to fruition yet. I'm especially surprised that Apple is is behind both Google and Amazon in IoT, in the Internet of Things devices, and then Samsung is behind them, but only 20%. They only have 20%. Apple is the device maker. Like, this is what they do, and they haven't been able to get into this market. And I would just offer one other thing, and then I'm coming right to you, Lois, I promise. And that is that I think that the problem is not the devices, but it's the software. That everyone has their own software. You know, I have one app to control the lights in this room. I have another app to control the lights in that room because I happen to have gotten different smart plugs. Nothing talks to each other. I still can't get my printer to connect to my computer. Like, I mean, it's just, they're not smart things yet. They're really still pretty dumb, I think. Lois, what do you think?
So I think one of the things that we're sort of dancing around is, who are those 57% of the people who have smartphones and smart houses and all this other stuff? I think what a good thing to remember in all of our discussions is that what you grew up with will determine to some extent what you are comfortable with. So I grew up with cursive writing, with handwriting. People who are very young didn't have to do that because everything was print, and they didn't have to learn cursive handwriting. So for me, that's normal, and these other things are, oh, newfangled inventions. But for some people, buggy whips don't even exist. You've never driven a horse and buggy. You've all these things that are changes in our lives. For the people who are 20 years old, they never knew anything else. And so, of course, their assumption is the car is going to play music for me anytime I want. And the house is going to have this, that, and the other thing, because that technology existed when they were growing up. And so I'd be curious to find the ages of that 57%. And I think you'll find them young adults.
Yeah. Sky, you said you wrote on the doc, smart as a marketing term because lazy was already taken. I love that.
Well, it is lazy boy, and we, what does water do but go downhill? And I think humanity as a species are inherently lazy throughout its existence, and that's why.
But I'm reflecting on what Lois was just talking about.
Sure.
And how we don't bother to learn cursive anymore. But that's not laziness. That's because we don't need it. It's because we have.
I want to go back. I want to go back to our top of the hour and thinking of let's stay. I want to see everybody.
No.
If I could. No, because I want to talk to Dave about your Dave Paskin about your career. Is it not that you had to memorize an entire series of books because of is that oral tradition still in effect?
Yeah, I didn't have to memorize it. I had to know how to engage with it.
Okay, so it's been modified, but that kept a people group together. And I'm putting words in I'm asking questions because I'm a Methodist ignorant.
No, I hear what you're saying, and I think I know where you're going with this. Right.
Please go there with me, or go there ahead of me, because I'm
tell
lost.
me if I'm mishearing though. So the suggestion is that there's value in holding on to the old ways of doing things and the past and history. There's value in that. That the new shiny thing isn't always better than.
It's just faster.
But I think it can be, right? Because a lot of what we're talking about now is we're retrofitting our current existence to try to be smart. And if you look at like the history of housing, one of the things that drastically changed housing was the invention of the television. And once the television left from being in one family room to being able to be purchased by multiple people. The kids need one in their room. The history of housing shifted. We needed to have plugs in every single room, right? We needed to have things. Now, when I go look for a place to live, I am immediately thinking about the fact that I have a gazillion pieces of technology that all needs to be plugged in. And so that is something that is becoming necessary when you go to places, not to just, even when I was a child, we go, where are the landlines going to go? Now it is where the plug's going to go. As we retrofit houses or as we create new houses that have this technology inherently built from within, as opposed to trying to find these different things and match the plugs up with the right, docking station, I think that will become a much more, people will use it more in the same way that I'm using this technology in my car. I'm able to open my doors without having my key in the door. Like, I completely did not know that was a technology that I need, but I love the fact that late at night I can go to my car and open the door without having to dig through my purse and find my keys.
Right.
So I think that is what's going to be the driving factor of having technology. Right now, we're just kind of grasping at what's out there. And I think what's going to be out there is going to have to be thought from the ground up. And that will become normal in practice of building.
And do you think that there will then become communities that are based on having a smart house, and one builder will build an entire community of smart houses, and then the people who want them will go and live there and be separated somehow from the rest of the folks?
So here's the thing. We're already seeing that now. We're seeing buildings being built as work from home spaces that offer you co-working in the bottom floor where you can co-work with people, and then your house has things very specifically. We're seeing buildings that come with T1 lines, that come with fiber. So like, we're already thinking about those kind of things, and people who have, right at the moment, it's a money thing, right? If you have the money and the need for those things, you can find those things. But I think just like now, you can walk into any home that is being built, and from really the last almost 50 years, and go, there's a plug in every single room. And that was not normal. That was a need that we had. And so I think that some of the changes will happen over time based on how the general population is utilizing things. We cannot have a room with only one plug in it now. Like,
Right.
that is not possible. Circuits have to be separated within that is how we're building now, because people have electronics, they have lots of things to plug in, they need access to internet. So there's lots more things that as we're building new things, even the cheapest housing has some of these things inherently built into it.
I just want to pull out something that you just raised for me, Tamara, which is really important. And that is that in my headspace, I was thinking about home automation in a home. And that is when I say home, I mean a single family house.
Right.
But young folks who are living in apartments or condos, like my daughter, I have a 27-year-old daughter who has her own place, and her building, the only way to get into her building is with your phone.
Yep.
You have to, and that's how I get into her building. She sends me the app, and I have the app, and it unlocks the doors or the gates or the this or the that. And so, so when you were just describing these, which actually sounds like a dream to me, an apartment building with the living quarters upstairs, and then there's a shared workspace downstairs. That actually sounds amazing to me.
Right.
And you're right. And for young folks that are not necessarily buying single family homes, but are living in apartments or condos, they're probably even have more IoT and technologically advanced than single family homes are.
And then when those people who have been growing, who their first apartment is that, when they go and look for a house,
then
they're going to look for that.
Yeah. Dave, go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, I finally get to tell you what tech I have.
Sorry.
When we bought this house, it had a phone plug in every room. I could plug a Princess phone into any part of my house. Today we have no landline at all, so I don't need it. And like Lois said, you adjust, you adapt, and the next generation sees the world entirely differently, and that's great, because I see my world very different from my own father. So that's fine. The tech that was a big discussion in our house was air tags, because we're traveling more, and we had some issues where our luggage was delayed or held up by somebody, and I had some concern about how far away it was. Now, if you go to Japan, there's a service where your luggage can come from the airport to the hotel and you don't have to pick it up. And then if you're moving to another city's hotel, they'll ship it there too. It's a low cost thing. It's about 25 bucks. And you don't have to sit on a train with 3 bags around you. And it works really well. But we wanted to get air tags to make sure we were tracking this. The air tags now tell me that my car is in the parking lot of the shopping center that I just walked into. My air tags tell me that my briefcase is still at home when I left. It's also telling me that my wife's wallet is now in a store, and I don't know what she's buying, but I'll find out when I look on my app for the banking, and I can see she's just paid for something. So these are, I mean, I still get a kick out of banking at the checkout,
Right.
checking to see if I actually have the cash to be able to pay for the groceries. And I don't know what the balance is because I didn't check yesterday. So I'm going to check. I'm in a lineup with other people and I'm banking, and I can move money around, and I can even e-transfer my wife. So in the sense that we're adapting to the conveniences that we think are important, I don't find I want an AirPod for the sound, not for the access to Siri. I do use Siri in my car a lot. And I did it because I was a freelance guy and I had to find addresses of businesses and that sort. Now, with Lois mentioning the development of homes specifically for the future, our city, in fact, had an airport downtown, a big one, and it was like a jumping off spot to Alaska. So it had to be able to take the large planes. And actually, we had a place for the shuttle to come down in an emergency. So that was taken out because you can't fly there anymore with the tall buildings. And now it's actually being built for the future. And it's got more bike lanes. It's got everything underground. They've got solar on every building, and the groups of buildings are generating their own stuff. The water is being gray recycled and it doesn't leave the area. I mean, it's quite the advance at a great expense. Everybody's complaining about. But I think, like some people are saying, once somebody lives there or grows up there, that will be what our city becomes. More of that and less of the other. And they'll demand it. They'll say to the developers, well, I don't know. I don't want to buy this whole thing because there's a guy down the street with a building that's all wired up with fiber. And he's going to go retrofit right away, take out all those landlines, put in fiber. And this is how the world does change. It's not all at once. Now, I rode a horse, I think, twice in my life, and I'm a Canadian. I'm supposed to be able to, go out in the range and get the cattle. No, I don't do that. But I do have friends who own horses. So I'm in the middle ground here. I'm making the transition. So I don't have a lot of tech. I don't have automatic water and all. My heating is still gas-based heating, and I go and adjust it. That's my dad's world, and I'm still living in it. So I think in the sense that we've covered all those bases, and we did in fact look at, is a house something you can make smart?
Right.
And we started with Sky's definition. Is it really smart? It's not. It's helpful,
marketing.
and it's helping us feel more comfortable, and it's helping us do a few things, but it's not yet as tech smart as we wish.
Yeah. I'm going to come to Lois and Sky. I just want to share that we actually have a couple of cameras in our house that aren't even plugged in. We just leave them there so that if someone does break in, they'll see them and think that we have cameras and that they're being recorded because
Why
I
would you
can't figure out how to get
broadcast
them to
that?
work. So,
Why would you?
Yeah, but I don't know his address.
but one of them is plugged in, but I never look at it, and I'm not willing to pay for for the recording. So I just leave it there, and I hope that someone gets scared off by it. Lois, go ahead. Up, unmute.
Here is, we're talking about all this wonderful stuff that can happen. And I always think like a criminal. What could I do with that stuff?
I'm sorry. Wait a second.
What?
Can we? You think?
I
I'm
rewind.
sorry.
I think like a criminal.
Really?
In order to protect yourself, you need to consider what might happen to you.
And so you do that
Uh-huh.
by thinking like the criminal.
Yeah. I
Okay.
am a smart person,
Take it away.
and I could
Oh, there's your
be
problem right there.
one
Not
of
a
the
lot of people
worst.
who are criminals are smart.
I know, but I could be one of the worst criminals that if I ever existed, if I decided to become that person. I'm not, obviously, but when you worry about things, and I look at all of this smart house stuff and all the controlling things from the distances, and then I say, who owns the access to all of that stuff? Who could, I don't know, turn off all of the heating in everybody's house in the community? Who could punish a certain area for doing the wrong thing by whatever? And so, what do you think?
Right.
Who can take your stuff?
The joy is nothing talks to each other right now, so it's all.
that-
that's
we're
the
all
good
Yeah,
news.
safe.
but we're talking
There's
about
no
the future.
universal standard
Right.
yet. Yeah, that's right.
No, but you're
yeah,
right.
Girls
I
are
mean, it
forever
does,
taking the power out my neighborhood, so I blame them.
right, but it opens it up to hacking and things like that. You're right. You're right.
Dave,
As-
Dave and I come from broadcast television, which had SMPTE, which was exactly that challenge. The engineers at the time got together and says, "Hey, we got to figure this out because we can't have 3 different versions of TV, radio signal." So, which, everybody was competing for it. So, yes. And then my favorite in the SMPTE, they finally came up with an HD standard just in time for Blu-ray to be completely irrelevant because everything was cable. It's like, yay, Blu-ray's the standard that nobody's going to buy. Anyway,
Tape is dead.
the punchline that I wanted to really get out there was historically the health issues in keeping people alive was when we got indoor plumbing. And so here we are with this thing that we're arguing about what oh, look, it's the daughter Paskin.
Yeah, just ignore her. I had to put it
No,
up for her.
hello. I'm so glad you celebrate her. That's absolutely accurate.
She's
So
the one with that you need the app to get into our house. So there you go.
That's, we used to have, different kinds of keys. And so here we are. But that plumbing issue, it was less than 10 years ago, I think. But not Paul Allen, the other rich one, Microsoft, Bill Gates Foundation was working in India to help the malaria issue. And what they were doing is recognizing that plumbing was what was killing people because of the sanitation. And so consequently
Clean
for the
water.
betterment of humanity, but the challenge was it became a political issue because once you start, digging trenches and putting in things. So he was trying to do from the top down and the bottom up both because they had, speaking of very smart people working for the Gates Foundation, trying to figure this out. But also the political, it wasn't just a matter of coming in with a bunch of money and fixing stuff. It was, you got to tell people, yeah, you drink that water, things are going to go bad and then they go south. So this is that we're haggling over which kind of plugs we need. It's just ironic that there are certain parts of the world, and I think of Tony saying in the appropriation of resources, that there are people that don't have flushing toilets in the world, and here we are wanting 100 gig upload.
First world problems, of course.
First world.
No, I mean,
how
look,
can we help them? How can we help?
It's valuable for us to always just remember that how lucky we are to have printers that don't print and smart plugs that don't talk to each other. And you're right, and I'm really glad that you brought it up and
that's why we have community, and that's why I'm so glad you're here, and I'm here.
It's so, but it's really it's important when I'm kvetching about the latest AI tool and this and that.
I can never find my remote control until my mother-in-law says, "You mean this remote control?"
I mean,
I got my mother.
We live in we just live in an amazing time. Just an amazing time for those of us.
And we still have to keep changing because the technology is never going to stop. Never going to stop.
We have to keep growing with it. Wow. This is really rich. Thank you all so much for being here. And I especially just want to call out so many people who are in the chat. Vic and I Am Fatness and Dahlia and Alex Knight and Richie. I'm going back and forth here. Brody. It was really, really nice seeing all of you, your comments. Chris Clark was here. So nice to have all of you. Brett was here. Really, really, really nice to have all of you here and to hear your voices, to be part of the conversation. So we will be here next Thursday night. And without getting at all political, I do just want to say that hopefully, next Thursday, this horrible war in the Middle East will be over. For those of you who have not been following, there is a new peace agreement that has been signed by all the important parties. It was completely signed tonight. And for everyone, please God, it will be over and we can start to heal and we can find some more peace in the world because we need it. In our little tiny corner of the world, we'll keep talking about these first world problems and and having fun with them. So thank you all for being here. Tony and Tamara and Sky and Lois and Dave, love you guys. And to all of you for watching. And we'll see you next week.